Welcome back, travelers, and we will be going over Pokemon. Now, this is going to cover the first 16 evolutionary lines in the Pokédex, which means we're just starting off with Kanto, which, like everything else, starts off with Kanto. Speaking of everything else, have you noticed how huge Pokemon is right now? Like, for me, it's everywhere. I'm playing Pokemon Rumble. Pokemon Masters literally came out yesterday. Pokemon Go just had the whole Rocket event happen, which was super epic. We got Pokemon Sword and Shield, which everybody's super upset about, or just kind of like, yeah, forget it. And so, like, I just felt like it was a good idea to kind of release a series that was specifically about the colors of Pokemon, mixing and matching two of my favorite things into one video. And I mean, this is just gonna be the first 16. First up, we have the Bulbasaur line, which of course ends in Venusaur. For the duration of the video, I'll basically just be referring to the fully evolved form to represent the entirety of the family, mainly because they kind of all follow suit with the colors of the final form. Venusaur is green. Yeah, I know, big surprise. The grass Pokemon is green. First off, Charizard's a dragon. Well, he's not a dragon, but he looks like a dragon. He's got fire on his tail. So, red. Blastoise is a turtle. Turtles are famously usually blue. So, the first ones are green, red, and blue. Now, what's interesting is that because of the fact that Pokemon is centered a lot on the elementalist aspects of things, where the Pokemon have an elemental bit to them, a lot of the Pokemon will land into one of those three colors, and with a very certain subset winding up as black or white, which is very interesting to me, and I'll get into more near the end of the last episode. The Butterfree line and the Beedrill line, both are bugs. Butterflies and bees have both famously appeared on green cards, and so their species would be green. Now we come to the first of the white Pokemon, which is Pidgeot. Pidgeot is a normal flying type. Being a bird, he's kind of just a normal, average, everyday thing, but he's also shown to be very loyal, very much like a defender kind of thing. And if you look at him, he has a dark mirror that will come up later. But as it stands, a lot of like the Suntail Hawk or Aven, they tend to fall into the white category. So Raticate's the first of the mono black creatures. Obviously, Gobhoppler rats, all that stuff. Relentless Rat, Ravenous Rats, Ogre Slumlord. These are all black aligned rat-based things. But Raticate is also, he has an Alolan form, which kind of just amps up how Raticate can be. And Rattata, of course, where they're much more gang-based. They're basically gangs, and they have the big, like, Raticate that is a dark type, and dark obviously pushes it towards black very easily. But looking at the Alolan and Kanto variants, they both fit black very well. And overall, the majority of the Alolan forms really just help to inform what mana type you would make each of the different Pokemon. For instance, like I just said, Raticate is black, and his Alolan form kind of just amplifies that. This next one was Fearow. Fearow was in a hard spot. As you'll notice, the majority of the Pokemon are single color. He stays single color in this particular instance, but I put him in black, primarily because of the fact that he has shown to be a very aggressive territorial species, and they have a hierarchical system with the Spearow and their flocks. So I figured, okay, well, if it's a very mean Pokemon, it's very much centered on making sure that its people are okay. That sounds like the kind of thing that would happen in a black-aligned Pokemon species. Arbok. Arbok easily could have gone into the black or the green categories. He technically probably could have fit in blue as well, but due to the fact that Arbok is specifically a poisonous cobra and is used by Team Rocket, who in this particular observation includes Team Rocket as a force to be reckoned with. So the fact that Arbok is very closely aligned with those things and those characters, I've decided to make Arbok black. Raichu. Now, yes, I said Raichu. Yeah, Pikachu is also there. Pichu later on, maybe, if we get to the Johto. But the main thing is that Raichu uses electricity. And if there's anything that makes sense with lightning bolts or balls of lightning or other things like that, shock, it's very red. And Pikachu and Raichu, they fit that red idea, like the red feel. They're very fast, they're very small, but they do electrical attacks. This is the kind of thing that red would do. Sandslash. Sandslash, I think, is green, primarily because As far as it's like Pokedex entries go, it's basically just an animal. And usually when it just comes to normal, just beast-like creatures, green gets it. In both Magic terms and in Pokemon terms, if it's like just basically a big ground-type monster, then it's probably going to be green. If you look at Alolan Sandslash, it still kind of fits that idea, where it basically just adapted and became more Ice-Steel based. And it's cool because that would still be a green creature. In the case of Ice and Steel, those two types basically just modify the creature as opposed to giving it a sense of what type it is. For instance, Ice easily could just make something a snow type, a snow permanent. So for instance, Sandslash would easily just be a green snow creature. And if you wanted to, you can make it, since it's Steel type, Artifact, a green Artifact snow type creature. It's weird, but it's the kind of thing that Sandslash, Alolan Sandslash could be, while the base Sandslash would just be a normal green creature. Nidoqueen and Nidoking. Now, both are green. Yeah, there's arguments that maybe they're black, maybe they're white, maybe they're blue. And one of the main things about Pokemon is that they're a species as a whole is what you have to look at when you're talking about the colors. For instance, if you're talking about Ash's Pikachu, you can make it red-white because it's all about like the community of the people that it's with, and I teach you, you teach me Pokemon kind of deal. But when it comes to the actual creatures themselves, the animals themselves, Nidoqueen, Nidoking, they're basically just giant monsters. They don't have really any aspects to them in their Pokédex entries that skew them towards a different type. So they, like Sandslash, fall in green. A lot of the ground types wind up being green because they're kind of the more not basic, but more simple. They're more just, they're just animals. They're the creatures you would find in Safari Zone kind of deal. Now, Clefable and Clefairy are both fairies. They're fairy-type Pokemon. And fairy-type Pokemon were kind of hard to pin down. Primarily because in Magic, fairies are traditionally blue and black. Black is not so much, but mainly blue. Fairies are blue. And I wanted to look at Clefable from that perspective. Could it be blue? No, it can't. It's not really caring about perfection or any of that stuff. Let me actually bring up a Pokedex entry from Clefable. These are the more recent Pokedex entries from Sun and Moon. Sun, they don't like to reveal themselves in front of people. They live quietly in packs deep in the mountains, so they have little communities. Moon, according to tradition, if you see a pair of them skipping by, you can look forward to a happy marriage. Ultra Sun talks about how I can hear a pin drop from super far away, so it just stays in the mountains where there's less pins dropping. Ultra Moon sometimes believe it gazes intently at the sky because it's homesick, because it's from the moon. It's a moon person. And then they appear to be very protective of their own world. It says it is the kind of fairy rarely seen by people. Looking at Clefairy, it talks about basically just how cute it is and how it looks at the moon and how it dances with its friends. So on those same notes, Clefairy kind of like just fits into a simple, like benevolent, almost angel-like character. And they're just like cherubim, which are basically just like happy creatures, and I feel like that kind of puts them into the white category. Ninetales. Ninetales is the first of the dual color combination Pokemon. There's only going to be 10 in the Kanto region out of the Kanto Pokédex, but Ninetales, and I guess by extension Vulpix, fit 2 colors specifically. It's really, really weird. There's like legends around Ninetales, and if you look at Magic, the Kitsune, which is what it's based on, Kitsune, are mono white, thanks to Kamigawa. But looking at Ninetales, first off, it's a fire type, so being a fire type kind of pushes you towards red really easily. But Ninetales itself has a lot of stuff that has to do with legends, saints, curses, breathing fire, and like having all sorts of stuff related to its emotional state. And then of course you have Alolan Ninetales, and despite being ice-based, I feel like that still puts it in the fire-red category, because ice magic is still one of Red's abilities. It's a lesser-known one, it's lesser used, but there are things like a Rhyme-Scale Dragon that specifically are ice-based red mages, or red creatures. So Ninetales, in both its Alolan and normal form, kind of fit that ideology. The last one for today is going to be Wigglytuff. Once again, Moonfolk is definitely a thing, since Wigglytuff is basically a rabbit and a fairy, which both would push it towards blue, but trying to balance out the Pokemon types, like I've mentioned, it fits better with white, going along the lines of a more innocent or pure creature. And that's the general idea that I got for Wigglytuff and Jigglypuff. They put you to sleep, which also would be a blue ability, but considering that blue and red and green have the majority of Pokemon, it would be a bend where you could make it that way. So they, like, say Wigglytuff and Jigglypuff, they tap a creature. That's how they put them to sleep. That's a white ability. And so I feel like those things all kind of fit together to make Wigglytuff a good candidate for white. Thank you guys for watching. That was interesting. That was fun. I'm looking forward to the next batch of Pokemon. That'll be coming out tomorrow, actually. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and leave a like if you haven't already, and please comment what I got wrong. If you think that there was a Pokemon that is definitely something else, you should tell me about it. And if you have any other ideas for what I should color code next, I would appreciate that as well. Until then, travel well.